Hello again, fellow YouTubers. Some Pleasant back for another Card Fight Vanguard deck profile, and as you can see by the sleeve here, this is a less serious profile. Now, I will do more serious profiles later. As of now, there are 3 more serious profiles that I have planned. As of now. Hopefully I have enough time to finish them. There are at least 2 that I can finish, but I make no promises at this point because it's very hard to keep up with this at this point, so gonna try. I can at least give you some of these profiles, though. So, for this deck profile, I'm gonna have its Dark Regs again. And as you can tell, this isn't my Amon deck. This is my other Dark Reg deck. So, this is my, I might as well just kind of show up grade 3s, kind of do something differently. This is my, I guess not. This is my newly revamped Edel Rose deck that I had put aside for quite some time, but decided, you know, I like Edel Rose, so I'm gonna remake her. So, of course, we have the starter Vermilion Gatekeeper, and he's the starter because pretty much any other starter for Darky Regs has some counterblast or has something that just isn't as desirable as Vermilion Gatekeeper, because I like Vermilion Gatekeeper. He has the skill of get a soul charge. Because really, in Darky Regs, that's all you need to do. So, that's why I use him as Vanguard. It's a very simple Vanguard. Very easy to use, so pretty straightforward starter. Moving on to trigger lineup, got 3 draws of Hysteric Shirley, who has the skill of put this unit into Soul and Soul Charge 1. So, really helpful for this type of Darky Reg build, and you'll see why I actually do want a Soul Charge in this deck. You'll see why in a minute. 3 stands, Hades Puppet Master, pretty straightforward on that. 6 crit, got 3 Blitz Runner. Yeah, and I got 3 Amon's Follower Cruel Hand. Thank God this came out because it makes it easier for you to run more crit than, you know, just Blitz Runner and Nightmare Land, which is freaking impossible to get from people who are using Darky Regs. So, there's that. And, of course, the best looking Darky Reg draw heal trigger ever, Amon's Follower Hell's Trick, because you want 4 heals. So, as you can tell, besides heal triggers, 3 of everything else, because this way you can run a rainbow build while still having power. You can run a rainbow build while being a legitimate threat. So this is actually not a bad setup in my opinion. So other people can disagree with me all they want, but I'm ultimately not going to care because this isn't a serious deck profile. So there's that. Moving on to grade 1s. I run 2 Ruin Weaver, yeah, which has the ability of when this unit is placed in Vanguard or Rearguard, if you have Darky Regs Vanguard, choose one of your Darky Regs and put from your hand, put into the Soul. Why do I use this? Well, in Edel Rose deck, you specifically want Werewolf Seeger in the Soul. So, say you've already ridden Edel Rose and you don't have Seeger in the Soul and you don't have anything to Soul Charge, but you happen to have a Seeger in your hand. That's where this guy comes in. Granted, after you use it for Seeger, he's pretty much worthless, but until then, he's pretty good, so run 2, I guess. I run 4 Nightmare Baby because I run Blue Dust, because those 2 columning up as a column is pretty awesome. Sucks riding this thing, but has that awesome skill of on Rearguard, when this unit boosts a unit named Blue Dust, the boosted unit gets +4, so I instantly have a 19k column. And if that column hits, I get to Soul Charge. Really awesome. So, 4 of those. A new unit that was brought into Darky Regs that I've decided to put in this deck, 3 Dimension Creeper. This is good for Edel Rose because I can blast him out and hopefully get Seeger in. Blast 1, Soul Charge 2. It's a really nice 7k, so you can even call it a Rearguard, so very nice new card. I'm really proud of Bushiroad for making this card for Darky Regs. It's a really actually nice card that you can use in a good amount of Darky Regs decks. And of course, for Prisoner Beast, because 8k beat sticks are great for Edel Rose. So, there's that. So besides Prisoner Beast and, well, yeah, Prisoner Beast and Nightmare you don't, the other 2 do. So there's the grade 1 setup. Grade 2 setup's a little weird, but I'm going to kind of explain why. Run 1 free Traveler. He has the skill of Counterblast 1 when this unit is placed on Vanguard or Rearguard. If you have Dark Reg's Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 grade 2 or less and put into the soul, shuffle your deck. You can tell why you only need 1 of this. The instant you play this, you put Seeger in the soul. The instant you play this. That's why you only need 1, because it's an 8k, so otherwise it's just clogging up space. I run 3 Decadent Succubus because you have this on Vanguard. It gets the skill of when Dark Regs is placed on Rearguard, you may soul charge 1. Now you may be thinking, well, if I'm really banking on just getting 1 unit in the soul, why would I want to ride this? You'll see when I get to the grade 3 lineup. For Blue Dust, because Blue Dust is a very pressure card that has the ability of soul charge 1 if this unit attack hits on Vanguard or Rearguard. This is a very good card. Very good. It really puts the pressure for your opponents to guard his attacks, because the instant he hits, I get soul charge. So boost that by Nightmare Baby, that becomes a deadly combo. Run 4 the obvious Werewolf Seeger because you need Seeger and Edel Rose. If you don't, you're stupid. And I run 1 Imprisoned Fallen Angel Sacuriel. Now you may be wondering why I run this in a Dark Regs deck, especially considering it has Restraint. The Restraint cost to lose it of Soul Blast 3, and when this unit is boosted from Vanguard, it gets +5. And it's an 11k, so that's why it has Restraint. I use this for when I have Edel Rose on Vanguard, because Edel Rose only needs 1 card in the soul in order to really work, so all the other cards are just kind of sitting there doing nothing. So I figure running 1 of this can put that soul somewhat to use, but you're gonna kind of see why I sometimes use the soul and why I sometimes don't. That's why I only use 1 of it, because otherwise it's just gonna be there for guard fodder. So there's the grade 2 setup, and you're probably wondering exactly why I have some cards that are specific on soul charging and why some cards don't care about soul charging. I'm gonna explain that when I show you my grade 3s. So my grade 3 setup is 3 Master of the 5th Element, and obviously 4 Edel Rose. So I'm going to start with Edel Rose to be obvious. Her skill is Counterblast 2. When this unit has Werewolf Seeger in the soul, you get +5 in a crit until the end of the turn. The term I call Scarlet Tear. It also has the hand ability of reveal this, and if you reveal this to your opponent, put it into your deck, search for a Werewolf Seeger, put that into your hand, and then shuffle the deck. I run 4 because I like 4 Edel Rose, because I really like that artwork. It is a 9k, and that is a problem, but it can go up against other decks and actually do somewhat well. Why did I use Master? Well, I was sitting one day and I thought, you know, this guy doesn't see a lot of play, and he can't be used in a lot. So what can I use him for? He has the skill, Continuous Limit Break of, during your turn, if the number of Dark Regs in your soul is 10 or more, all Dark Regs get +3. Including this one. So, instantly when I have 10, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13, 13. So, pretty good. It also has that fifth element ability, Emblem Master ability or whatever, of Counterblast 1 when this unit attack hits, if it's on Vanguard. When this attack hits, Soul Charge 3. This gets in Seeger, and it gets in Soul. So, the way I've set up this deck is to basically get Seeger in the soul, and once you achieve that goal, ride Rose and really hammer it hard with the Counterblast. Then when you run out of Counterblast, go to this guy and then use the power of the soul. During that time, if you can finish the game with Edel Rose, you want to have Sacuriel on Rearguard, because that way you can push for power, or you can save the soul and then save it for Master of the 5th Element. Because I realize that Edel doesn't really work much with the soul, Master doesn't really work well with, doesn't really work with Counterblast, because once you get 10 in the soul, his limit break goes off and that's kind of there. So, I figure this is a really good way of using it. Now, you could argue take this out and do that, or put another Master in, but I like it this way because I want to focus on Edel Rose because I do like her more. And now, because I actually do kind of have a battle tactic for it, I'm going to show you the actual way you could run this deck, which is something I don't do that much. So I'm going to do that right now. So here is probably my ideal setup for when I want to push for late game. So let's just say right now I have these 4 cards in my hand, so some defense, some attack, got this guy for later. So here's what, this deck, there are 2 ways of finishing it. There's the Edel Rose way. Now, these columns are pretty good columns. You definitely want one of these columns. Gonna say that right now. You want one of these because 19k is still pretty legit in Vanguard. So, for your first turn that you're at this, and you're probably gonna want some stuff in the soul, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 in the soul currently, so you want to be something like that. So for your first major offensive, you want to use Edel Rose's skill twice. And yes, I said twice. If you want to drag it out longer, use it once per turn. But considering you're going to want to ride Master the 5th element, considering we have them in your hand, Counterblast 4, plus 10 to double crit. So your opponent's definitely going to guard that. So start off with an 18k. Let's assume our opponent is at 4 damage, which is pretty typical here. So start with an 18, they can guard or not. Let's say they don't. 5 damage. So let's see, that's 17. This is a 27k at the van. Let's assume they P guard it. First check, nothing. Second check, nothing. Hey, nice call. Nothing. So, they block that with a P-guard, so let's assume that they're down to 4 cards in their hand. Attack with a 19, assume they guard, and they've got 3 cards in their hand now. Let's say they have a 10k. So, after your opponent does some stuff and you kind of, guard it. Let's see. You guard it. And let's say he has a really big Vanguard attack and you just kind of guard that. Let's just say you have 2 cards left in your hand, something to guard with, something not to guard with. So let's say you're now at this and you draw. Alright, so first you use out. So what you do first, Ride Master, Limit Break goes off, everybody's got +3. Use Edel Rose's skill, put that back, because I drew Edel Rose, and look for a Seeger, and there's one. There's Seeger. So whenever you have Edel in your hand, and you've already used up most of your Counterblast, and you know you still have a Seeger in the deck at least, definitely go for the Seeger, because you're going to want defense. You are really going to want defense for later. So I now can guard at least 1 attack. Everybody has +3, so instead of an 18, this is now a 24k column. They've got to guard it. This is now a 24 column. And since they're still at 5 damage and they've got, let's say 4 cards in their hand, let's assume that they guard with 2 of them for a 30k shield. So first, hey, stand. Give +5 to that and stand it. And nothing. So they've got 2 cards left in their hand. 18, that requires a 10k. And 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And 25, which requires a good 10k at least. So they'd pretty much have to exhaust all of their hand in order to block that for the most part. And now, you still have stuff to guard with. So say your opponent survives that and they only have 1 card in their hand, so unless it's a miracle like that, just kind of guard it. Just kind of guard that. And let's assume that since they intercepted, they only had 2 attacks. So you still have this stuff in your hand. You draw. And now you're in a good spot. So pretty much what you do after you ride Master of the 5th and you have other Masters of the 5th, ride them. Just keep stacking up the soul, because sooner or later, you might want to buff this out and start attacking with it, because an 11k is still an 11k regardless. So pretty much at this point, your opponent doesn't have much to survive, and you can keep doing this until you either die, deck out, or he or she dies. So that's why I like this deck, because I can switch from relying on Counterblast to relying on Soul. I think it's very balanced. I like these vampires. I find them very useful. Will they make tournaments? Probably not, because again, El Rose is a 9k, Master's a 10k, so yeah, if you threw Break Rides in, they might actually be somewhat of a very big threat. As they are, though, they're not a bad deck profile. This is a very budget deck that I made, and it's actually not that hard to build this deck. It's really not. And I think it can actually have some viable power. I think it does have some viable chance. It's a lot like, my Tachi deck. It's something where I know it probably won't do the best at tournaments, but I know it can actually pull off a good fight. I know it can do that. So there's my Elder Rose deck profile. So this has been Solomon Pleasant, signing off.